Good day, this is Brer Ph.D. and my post hole digger. Hello, Mr. President. This is Brer Caleb. Did anyone ever tell you that this is not how you win in heaven? The way you act here is not going to help you up there very much.
Wow, unbelievable. Oh yeah, I got...
Hi folks, this is Brer Caleb, Ph.D. and my Ph.D. stands for Post Hole Digger. By now we should know that tough times never last, but tough people do. As I was wondering today what I would be presenting, I got excited. This picture here talks about, or is a picture of downtown Toronto. This is the financial district. A place where I spend many hours with clients and people and motivational people as well, and many people. For me, downtown Toronto has some good memories. I also had something that I understood was the time. It took me quite often 1 to 2 hours, more 2 hours plus, just to drive one way into Toronto every single day, because the traffic is horrendous. But that's not what we're talking about. Today we're going over to something else. Stalking the wild pendulum. As I watch and see what is going on in society, we all seem to reach a moment that, wow, this is the new savior, Mr. Trump. That was 4 years ago. Now 4 years later, we've been able to watch him, see him make decisions, make some good decisions, make some bad decisions, make some amazing decisions in his mind. But in 2 weeks' time, we will see what the people think of what he did. Our performance, that determines who we are. Is that true? Sometimes we intend to do things right, but they don't come out right. Does that make us a bad person or a good person? Now, that means that we are coming out of the closet. In other words, when you use that term, it usually has an connotation to it. But coming out of the closet means also we are becoming aware who we are. So Stalking the Wild Pendulum is a book that was written in the early 60s, I believe, or earlier even, by a gentleman that discovered that there is a communication between earth and science and spiritual. Now, some people do not understand why I keep on working on restorative justice. I can tell you that working in the system of the law where penalties are issued, in other words, people have been sentenced to jail or held in jail because they're waiting for sentencing. I did that for 12 years. But then when I was sentenced in Canada for 6 years times 3 for something we believe was not what we were accused of, but somebody was going to take me down because they didn't get what they wanted. And those were papers worth $5 billion. And because I fought that, they took everything away from me. And all of a sudden I understood something in life. It doesn't matter how well you intend. There are certain things, and it's like a wild pendulum. One moment it goes left, then right, then left, then right. How do you know which way the pendulum is going? Can we stimulate that pendulum, and can we understand what is going to happen in our lives? A pendulum is also used in a different way. When we had our property, I had 48 acres in Canada, and we had the land with water, and there were some wet spots. I had also wonderful people working for me. They were Mennonites. Now, Mennonites is a group of people that came years ago in the mid-1600s over to the New World, to Canada and the United States. Mennonites came because they were persecuted for their convictions, for their beliefs. But today, Mennonites, as we know it today, anno 2000 plus, they are a great group of people. They have their own philosophy, they work together very closely, but they have some great working ethics. And I had a group of people working for me, I believe 5 or 6 wonderful people, great with soil. And when I was looking at planting my trees, and at over 1,200 trees that we did, we had a little problem. Where was the water for my quarry going to be? So in the beginning we had a tennis court that I intended to make, and we decided to make a quarry pond and a Japanese garden, a combination. And that took a little bit of time. But in the same token, I noticed there were certain times when it rained, there were certain wet spots. And that is where my friend, an older gentleman, and when I say older, he looked older, but he was my age, he took something, held it in his hands, and it was some kind of a hanger, a coat hanger, a metal coat hanger. And as he was walking, his sons told me, just leave that. He knows what he is doing. And he said, yeah, here you gotta go. And then we went to another spot to say, here you have to dig, here you have to dig, and over there you have to dig. An amazing grace. We found water. He said, yeah, I don't know how it works exactly, but I've had it as a little kid. If I walk with a hanger in my hand this way, and he was using the pendulum system. The pendulum talked to him. It let him know that here was water and over there was water. And he was right on the dot. Now, we are going to talk about stalking the wild pendulum. The gentleman I was talking about is Itzhak Bentov. And he provided a new perspective of human consciousness and limitless possibilities. In other words, if we come to understand what is in our mind, our brain, that it is not just physical, but we have also a spiritual you, body, soul, and spirit. But most people don't get very far because once they're in the world, they have to learn, they go to school, they go to work, and then they die. Sad, but that's how it goes. Some other people work, become billionaire, and then they die. And some people just live, and then they die. So there are two things for sure. You come to life, and you will die. So the pendulum swings first that way and then that way. Now how do we live a good restorative justice? Is that part why I chose this. The name restorative justice is a name that I learned not when I was in prison as a counselor, as a evangelist for 12 years. I learned this term in prison when I served in maximum security. That's where the first time when we got together, it were the natives, the people that were the First Nations, people that were the Indians, people that were born in Canada as the original Canadians. And they were talking about restorative justice. Restorative justice is when something is out of place. Somebody has either maimed or killed or stolen or done something that was against nature. Because in nature it is not to kill. Only when you need to eat something you are allowed to kill. But when you kill just to get money, then it's something out of nature. And the pendulum has swung that way. And now it needs to be back. And in order to get restorative justice, justice to nature, you and I, we need to understand, although we are from the West maybe, and we have been brought up differently, that there is a little bit more than you and I know. Because our body, as it is connected to a spiritual part. And each time when I do something, in other words, I punch you in the face, something else will happen. Some people say, oh, that is karma. You do something mean. Yes, the terminology karma is a good one, and it is one that many people are familiar with. But what we are discovering under restorative justice is that when the Father created us, and we went the other way, the pendulum is now going to swing back. But how is the pendulum moving? Why is the pendulum moving? Why is the restorative justice bringing us from left back to right? And why do we have to go to the right? Why can we not just stay on the left side? Because you don't care for the right side, or you don't want to be involved, period. Well, that is one of the fascinations in life. You are involved. The moment that you're born, you were born for restorative justice. Because the moment you were born, you started with your first cry, that signaled something somewhere else. A part that you don't see, but it's there. It's a spiritual aspect. And now people start to understand that when we do something, in other words, punch, there is an action and a reaction. When I speak, there is an action and a reaction. When I look for a certain intent, like, I'm mad, I send out a signal. When I'm loving, when I smile, when I care, there is a reaction for everything I do. And that is where restorative justice will come in balance. I need to balance it out. The pendulum is going either left or right. So if I am grouchy today, it will affect not only me, it will affect the people around me, besides me, people behind me. You kick the dog kicks the cat, and the cat goes after the mouse, and it said, what did I do? It has a chain reaction, so the pendulum will swing till it gets to the right spot. And the right spot is when we are in balance. Would you want to be in balance? Now remember, folks, tough times never last, but tough people do. God bless you. Bye for now.
Unbelievable. Oh yeah, I got